The jam-packed Summer of Smash finally comes to a close this weekend at Shine 2018. Although a significant portion of the top 10 will be absent, a good chunk of the recently ranked top 50 will be there to make top 64 extremely exciting. So to get you prepared for one of the last major events in Melee's third quarter of the year, let's look at the players and storylines you should be looking out for this weekend in Boston. Let's start off with talking about the most important thing at any event: who can take home the gold. Before we jump into it, it's important to note that Plup has said on stream this week that he will most likely be going all Samus at Shine like he did last year, so we'll be assuming this is the case for all of his projected matches. So with that in mind, there are two likely candidates for winning Shine, two potential wildcards who could do it with the right bracket, and one absolutely crazy run that would need all the stars to align to happen. Starting with the most likely, we have Hungrybox, who was the #1 seed at the event, largely in part to Leffen and Armada's absence at Shine. And with the top seed, he's got a clean path of Bladewise, KJH, and S2J to make it into top 8. KJH did give him a bit of a scare in a Game 5 set at Super Smash Con, where Hungrybox wasn't looking his cleanest, but I doubt KJH will be able to replicate this now that Hungrybox has time to prepare. Then his last really scary match of the event is against Wizrobe, who has taken him to last game in 5 out of the 6 sets they've played this year, but Hungrybox is still up for the year 4-2. After that, he'll either be facing off with Plup Samus that hasn't faced off with Hungrybox in quite a long time, or Mango's Falco. Mango's the favorite to win that set, and we don't have any recent sets to go off of for Plup Samus, so let's talk about Hungrybox versus Mango. There are few rivalries in Melee as storied as Hungrybox versus Mango, and if you look at the all-time stats, Hungrybox has still got quite a hill to climb to even it up. But over the last 3 years, with an 11-8, a 6-5, and a 2-1 so far this year, Hungrybox is starting to turn the tides and is for sure the favorite to take another step in the right direction here. But with how inconsistent Mango has been lately, we could realistically not even see him make it that far, which is a great sign for HBox. And with only 4 months and a handful of majors left, it's starting to become clearer that Mango may end this year without a single gold medal. So what exactly does Mango have to do at Shine to stop it? Well, first he's got to make the top 8 through Michael's Puff, Westball's Falco, and SFAT's Fox, which shouldn't be too much of a tall task for Mango, but this is the same guy who lost to Flipsy a couple weeks ago, so there's at least a non-zero chance that Mango drops a set here. Once in top 8, he's got a rematch from Shine 2017 against Plup Samus, who he 3-0'd the last time, so he'll most likely win this to take him to his aforementioned set against Hungrybox. So with talk about Wizrobe potentially breaking through the once thought unbreakable barrier into the top 6, Mango needs to show up 100% at Shine and prove that he's still got that tremendous skill that has made so many people fall in love with Melee. And speaking of Wizrobe, if he was ever going to win a major, now would be the time to do it, but he's going to have to be playing at his absolute peak potential and get lucky. Beating Ginger, Nun, and Zane shouldn't be much of an issue, as he's beaten all 3 of them in their last meetings at Full Bloom, EVO, and CEO respectively, but all 3 of his sets against Zane this year have been intense Game 5s where Zane fails to close it out, so Wizrobe's dream may end here if Zane finally breaks the curse. Then in top 8, Wizrobe has his matchup against Hungrybox, which is a must win and a match I'm really hoping we get to see. And if his skill is able to carry him all the way to winners finals past Hungrybox, he's going to need some luck to have a favorable opponent here. If he's got the expected matchup against Mango, he's almost guaranteed a loss with a 0-16 all-time record according to Tafo stats. But if Mango drops on his way to Plup, or Plup Samus somehow pulls it out over Mango, Wizrobe has a real shot of sitting on winner's side of Grand Finals by winning the Falcon-favored Samus matchup, which would put him in a prime position to take the whole event over whoever challenges from losers. And for a lot of the reasons we've already covered, Plup Samus could win Shine, but it's going to be near impossible to do so. I say this because he's either got to dodge Mango and Hungrybox and beat who's ever there, or pull off upsets over both of them. It's really a shame we won't get to see Plup playing at his full potential, but it'll at least be cool to see his Samus playing at the top level again. Lastly, if you'll humor me a bit, we have the potential for one of 2018's wildest runs from Westballs, who is looking closer to his demigod form than he's been in quite a while at Air 5, where he took 2nd place and just barely was unable to close out his 2nd set against Leffen. His run starts against Rishi, which should be a win for him seeing as he won both times they met in 2017. Then against Mango, he's got a much better shot than expected because of Mango almost exclusively playing Falco recently. If Mango tries to Falco Ditto him, West has a very real shot to win, as historically he's done well against Mango in the Ditto, with a 3-0 at DreamHack Winter 2015 and a 3-1 in the first set of Mayhem 6-6-15 Grand Finals. But to be fair, the West Balls we're seeing today is very different from the West Balls of 2015. And if he's somehow able to pull that off, he'd have either SFAT or Duck, both of which he's historically traded sets against, but he'd rather see SFAT. Then in top 8, the dream could continue on against Plup, as he does have experience with his 9-2 record this year against Hugo, and he did beat his Samus at the Big House 4 and trade sets with him at Paragon 2015, but again, this is 3 years later. With the Hungrybox win on the other side, his run probably ends after being knocked into losers, but the fever dream scenario of a Wizrobe West Balls winners finals, where Wes is up on him 2-1 for the year, could see West Balls only needing to win one set in grand finals to take shine. But this all happening is extremely unlikely, but I thought we'd have a little fun and just take a peek at what could be if Sandstorm West Balls made a return. Let's come back to earth a bit and talk about SFAT. He had a disappointing 33rd placing at Super Smash Con, losing to 2 Puffs, Jerry and 42nd, and unless he's been practicing the matchup since, he's got a real shot of it happening again. Not only is he projected to play Toussaint at the start of Top 64, but he'd fall right into playing 42nd again with a loss, and even if he doesn't lose right there, Michael and Legend are both on his side of Top 64. So look to see if SFAT has finally figured out the Jigglypuff matchup yet again if he ends up facing any of them this weekend. The story of Hax has been all over the place the last couple of years, with his return promoting the box, promises to play Falcon again in tournament, and signing up for a ton of majors this year but only showing up to a few of them. So hopefully we'll actually see Hax Money return to the big stage here at Shine. He did recently win a New York local double eliminating Captain Smuckers, but also lost a monthly a couple days earlier to Lynn, so even if he does show up, it's hard to gauge how well he'll perform. Then one of the fastest rising players that you're sick of hearing about, Absent Page, is also going to be in attendance at Shine. And although he started this year strong, it looks like his rise is starting to slow down after a lukewarm 25th at EVO, losing the Cactar and Axe, and a disappointing 17th at SmashCon with losses to Drunk Sloth and KJH. So keep your eyes out to see if Absent Page can find the right medicine for the slump that has been holding him back. Chudat is another player who has been slipping down the ranks as dramatically as he rose up last year, recently adding a 65th placing at Super Smash Con, losing to Money Mike and 42nd. But there's not really much to say on his fall from grace that hasn't already been said. Two of Chu's potential matchups to look out for is New England's Thumbs and his Peach to potentially give Chu a run for his money, and if Chu wins that, facing off against Rishi, who was one of Army's victims during his losers run at Super Smash Con. And seemingly out of nowhere, it looks like MacD is looking to jump back into Melee, at least for a tiny bit, as evidenced by his first serious singles tournament so far this year at Super Smash Con, netting him a 25th placing, taking wins over Toussaint and Reeve while losing to Rishi and Absent Page. He ended 2017 as the 48th best player in the world, so he'll most likely make it back to the top 100 if he meets the requirements, but keep your eyes out for him to show if he's still got it in his projected matches against Kalamazoo, Curb, Bizarro Flame, and Mike Hayes. And no bias at all, but 3 of the Melee Stats boys are going to be competing at Shine. YCZ's Samus, Ambi's Fox, and Edwin's Marth will all be throwing their hats into the ring at Shine, so if any of them are fortunate enough to play on stream, or if you're at the event and see them playing, be sure to give them your support. New England is also chock full of so many talented players that it would be hard to highlight them all. But if you're wanting to learn more about players like Tiramisu, Lint, and Yasu, we actually had one of Shine's head TOs, an expert on New England Melee, Stock, on the Melee Stats podcast this week to talk about who he thinks could make a run on his home turf. So if you want to check that out and learn more about the New England scene, there'll be a link to this show at the end of this video with timestamps in the description to jump right to our talk about Shine. And that about does it for this video. If there's anyone you think I missed out on highlighting, tell me about him in the comments down below so we can all get more excited for Shine this weekend. I'd also love to hear who you think will win the event, or at the very least who you think is going to make a crazy run. And it's been a while since I talked about it in a video, but Melee Stats does have a public Discord where you can come to talk about everything Melee alongside me and the rest of the Melee Stats boys. The link to that is right down in the description, along with a link to get more information about Shine this weekend. And I think that's about it for this video. I've been SaveAsUntitled, and I will see you guys next time.